loud. Gino, who am I on the line with?
Gino.
Sick. What is your alter ego? What is your Twitch personality?
Yeah. So my Twitch persona, not to be confused with my fursona, because that is very different. But my Twitch persona is Zeko. It really doesn't have like a meaning behind it. I came up with it when I played RuneScape when I was like a child.
Yes.
And I
Hell
was
yeah.
like, you know what's really cool? The letter Z. And then I just like threw it on with something. I think I threw it on with Echo because I mean not was. I'm a Star Wars fan and Echo was a clone trooper in the 501st Legion and
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
like,
I've watched the Clone Wars.
yeah, I'm like, let's
Yeah,
throw
dude.
that all together. Like, hell yeah. So
Dude, I love that. Does he? I know most of the 501st like they viciously die in horrible ways. Is he
yeah.
dead? Like,
No, he's actually in the Bad Batch.
okay.
I mean, not to spoil the Clone Wars, he gets captured by the Separatists, he gets tortured, and then like he becomes like a like weird not like weird, but like he doesn't look like the regular clone troopers now because he got all tortured and like imbued with a bunch
He's
of
like
tech.
thin. He's like skinny. He's a
Yes,
skinny guy.
yes, yeah. He
Awesome.
got
Yeah,
imbued
no,
with a
he's
bunch of
dope.
tech, so they're like, we're gonna throw him in the Bad Batch now, and yeah, the rest is history.
That's so cool. I love that. I love that your name is comprised of, something that is deeply personal to you, right? Because I
Yeah.
think that that is like the more I have like reflected on my life and like realized and analyzed the reasons why I make content, is because I think that like the only thing that you have in this world is your creative lens, right? The
Mhm.
only thing that you truly have, like we all think that we have all this money and all of these possessions and things, but I really think that the only thing that you know to be true is that like you have this like visual kind of display and like you have these like senses, right? And then you have this like brain that like fires thoughts and things into your mind. And so it makes those unique experiences and influences that you have on your mind, right?
Mhm.
It makes those experiences very, very valuable because you are a collection of experiences that nobody else has experienced, right? So like taking and referencing from those things is like the definition of art, and I think that that's fucking really cool. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I think it's better than what my Xbox gamer tag was, which was Dingleberry729. So I think like it really resonates a little bit more.
No, but like, dude, like I think that that shows a progression, right?
Yeah.
Away from irony, away from detached irony into, hey, this is who I am. This is the influences that have shaped me, and I'm
Mm,
beginning to accept and embrace them. And I
yeah.
think that you should follow that instinct in everything that you do. And I have followed that instinct, and it's liberated me. I feel wonderful by that. Make sense?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I feel the same way. I mean, it's going back, I mean, like you said, to the roots. Like that's where I started. Like it was the Nintendo 64 to taking my parents' desktop PC that could only play Word and being like, let's play Maple Story, let's play RuneScape, and let's throw my life away trying to get level 99 wood cutting. Like, that's
Yeah,
that's
no,
how it
dude, I
is.
was in, I was smithing adamantium and fucking in the mines, dude,
Yeah.
in the desert. What's the desert called? Starts with a K, right?
Oh God, dude, I haven't played RuneScape in so long. I didn't go back to it because I'm scared now that like I have like I'm like if I open RuneScape right now, like it's over for me. I
No,
won't
and
be
then
able
you
to
and
come
then you
back.
teleport back to Lumby, and then you like, you go
Yes.
do all the quests and like, dude, I fucking my favorite quest was the vampire quest where like you go and you find like all the different things around the mansion or whatever, like the
Oh my
haunted.
God, yeah.
I
Oh
love
my
that one.
God.
And
I
then the
That's like the
sword
one
one.
thing that's stuck in my head was that mission. I just remember walking into that mansion and just being like, "Oh, it's going down." Like I'm so ready.
And I cheated. I used a guide because it's
Mm.
so confusing.
Mhm.
It's so fucking
It is.
confusing. That one specific mission is so confusing. But beautiful. Okay, Gino, let me tell you what the structure of this call should hopefully look like, okay? The first
Yeah.
thing I want to do is I want to understand your business and your mindset to I want to take in as much information as I possibly can
Mhm.
about what you're doing so that when I give you advice, right? And by the way, I don't really view it as advice. I more so view it as like trying to help you rethink some of these, trying to help you identify beliefs and things that you might believe that might be
Mhm.
holding you back from potentially building a multi-million dollar business. Does that make sense?
Gotcha.
And then once we identify those things, then I would like to try to help you think about those things slightly differently to help unlock some things in your mind so that you can kind of like get out of your own way, not implying that you're in your own way, but kind of get out of your own way so that like you can then unlock this like this growth process. Make sense?
Yeah.
Essentially what we're trying to do is trying to take a step back and develop wisdom. And I know that that's a fruity idea, but I'm kind of a fucking, woo woo guy. So
I love it.
sick. Cool. Okay. Beautiful. So the way I'm going to do this is I've had you do a ChatGPT exercise where you've basically done an interview, and thank you so much. It's very helpful, very detailed, and fantastic, and it's succinct and well written. I'm going to basically regurgitate this and read it back to you to make sure that you know, like that I know the details, and then
Mhm.
also I want to hear how you feel about this. And I know that that
Okay.
sounds strange, but like I believe that business is just as much about feelings, and those identifying those beliefs that are holding you back is about feelings,
Mhm.
right? And yeah, so I know that's woo-woo, but tell me how you feel about these
Yeah.
things, okay?
Okay. I will say I remember writing that whole ChatGPT exercise at 1:32 in the morning after I played some Valorant. So like if there's a lot of long rants, I'm just saying that's what it was.
Dude, the long rants, Gino, the long rants are that is what is going to take you to success. I believe a limiting belief that many people in our generation, Gen Z, millennials, Gen Alpha, I believe that like the limiting belief that we all hold is that like we are weird. We're afraid of being too weird. And I believe that we think that because we constantly compare ourselves to people on social media who are usually judgmental pricks, right?
Yep.
Who are
Yep.
like, I am doing, like we constantly are editing ourselves and saying, well, I shouldn't be able, if I get too far gone, then I'm fucking weird. And
Yeah.
Gino, what I'm telling you is be as weird as you possibly can fucking be because it will make you fucking rich. Does that make sense?
Oh, 100% agree.
Sick. So don't ever shy away from that idea of like, fuck, maybe I'm being too weird. Bro, be as weird as possible because the internet is a tool that will connect you with it could connect you with quite literally anyone.
Hmm.
Okay? So be as weird as you want to be. Make sense?
Got it.
Beautiful. Cool. Okay, what I do, I create entertaining Twitch and YouTube content centered around comedy bits and funny moments rather than professional gameplay. My content falls into two main categories. Competitive gaming streams. I engage in competitive audience by balancing a solid gameplay with humor, especially in a toxic or uptight gaming environment. Narrative-driven single-player games. I leverage my background in screenwriting and acting to analyze storytelling performances and emotional moments, offering unique insights alongside my reactions. Do you have any thoughts about that? Like, can you tell me about those things?
I mean, yeah, I still agree with those things to this day. That's really what I wanted to center myself around. And I, I mean, I abide by that. I mean, I've streamed for, oh boy, like 5 or more years now, on and off, like not consistently, but on and off. And I would change the track of my content all the time. It would be, okay, let's just play only that narrative driven stuff. Let's only do that. And it would do how it did. The metrics would be whatever. And I was like, okay, but now I'm getting bored. I feel like I should expand out. So let's only do competitive stuff. Let's only focus on that. And then I'm not the best. I'm not a esports athlete, right? Like I am a personality. So I don't have like I'm not hitting the craziest shots. I'm not that guy. I'm not him.
Gino, can I jump in for a second?
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful, and I think that that takes self-awareness, right? I think that like understanding that like because I think people get trapped there. They get trapped in like the thing of like if I'm going to be a professional gamer, I have to be the best person in the world at this game, right?
Hmm.
And I think that that's a trap, right? Because if you just focus on that, right? Like the beauty of content creation is not I have to be the best gamer. It's I have to create a wonderful experience for somebody to engage with me, right?
Hmm.
That is what you're trying to do. And
Yeah.
that can sometimes be I have more knowledge and therefore I'm better at the game and I can teach other people about the game. But a lot of times that is I'm a friendly person. I want to make friends with the people that watch me and I want to give them a good experience, right? And so I
Hmm.
think that your ability to discern that is fantastic. And but also I would say, don't shy away as well from embrace the more you play these games, I would imagine that your level of knowledge is going to increase quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
And so basically, like, I think being open to sharing that, and I'm not saying that you're not, and I probably should watch some of your content so that I don't make assumptions about like, oh, Gino's like not sharing insights, right? But like, don't shy away from that either, right? Like if you are going to naturally learn things that are going to be fascinating about
Mhm.
how to play these games well and better than most people. And I think that one of the most interesting things that you can do is share your perspectives on that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. Definitely agree because that's I mean one of the things that I'm known for in like the group that I play with like offline is don't have the best aim, but I do have like the the 500 IQ like plays where I'm just like, "Oh, let's do this instead." Like that's been a big part of what I think is entertaining about my streams too is I'll do some crazy shit that is just like, oh, nobody would think about that. Like one thing, like big example is when I play Valorant, I'm a Fade main and I don't know if you play Valorant at all or know anything about it, but Fade's a character that you use her utility and skills to get intel on the enemy, so like know where they're pushing from and stuff like that. And in the game, there's things called lineups. So you aim at like certain parts of the map, certain pixels to be able to throw your utility correctly so that you can get lineups that give you intel without like wasting stuff. And I said, fuck that. I'm not using lineups because that's a lot of time and I'm not a fucking nerd. So I'm like, I'm just going to guess and make my own lineups. And I've thrown probably some of the best fade eyes I've ever seen by just being like, huh, maybe I can get this up onto this building. And I just throw it and it works. And it's like some of the greatest moments ever where people are like, holy shit, big brain. Like, what the, like, one of my favorite comments I get from people who are either in game with me or in my stream is I throw that fade eye. I identify 5 people on the other team and they're like, what the fuck is that fade eye? And even the enemy team's like, how do you know to do that? And I'm like, I just guessed. I was like, I ran it in my brain. I'm like, I can probably get my eye on that. Like it can probably go up and I throw it and it lands and it's
Gino, can
beautiful.
I let me jump in there really quick.
Yeah,
I want to be very clear. I don't know much about Valorant, right?
fair enough.
Which is actually a wonderful thing because I think because I'm not so locked in, I can help you gain some perspective on this. But
Yeah.
what you are describing seems like a high level strategy in this game that people find unique, right? And you
Yes.
have evidence to believe that this is a unique strategy. And so what my thought is that if you start creating content about that specifically, that story that you just told me, explaining that in a succinct TikTok, right, where you go up and you script it, but you don't like read off a script. You
Yeah.
script
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
you script an outline, but you don't read off the script because you want to be a person, right? People want to hear a person. They don't want
Yep.
to hear a robot that reads a script, right? If you do that, like, and you make shorts and content around that, maybe it's a short, maybe it's a 10-minute video, right?
Mm,
If you make that stuff, those are the insights that are unique to you. And everyone in our generation fights this idea of like, I don't want to be perceived as weird, right? I
right.
don't want to be left out in the cold, right? Because like, if you're perceived as weird, there's a protection mechanism in your brain that doesn't want to be abandoned or made fun of, right?
Yeah.
And so basically, like we abandon those thoughts, right? What I'm telling you is that if you want to have success at this, lay into as fucking many weird, unique thoughts as possible,
Mhm.
and fucking make shit about the highest level of insight that you have. And it will be scary. It will be fucking scary, right? But that is
Yeah.
what art is confronting fear, having the courage to confront your own fear about being weird. Okay. And I believe that that insight is unique to you. And there are probably some people who have had it, but not nearly as many as you think. So I think that you should make as much shit about that as you possibly can. Does that make sense? And then here's
Yeah.
my other theory, Gino, is that once you make a few pieces of content about that, regardless of how they perform, because like it does the numbers will be lying to you at the beginning. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? At the
Yep.
beginning, your numbers will be lying to you. But after you make a few pieces of content where you feel like, oh my God, I explained something very well in this that many people probably didn't realize, right?
Mm,
Once you do that, then you will have more and more ideas that
mm,
will propagate from that, and you believe your identity will start to grow, and you will
mhm.
believe like I am a person who can have insights into this game that can help other people. An example of this would be Wolfie. Wolfie VGC plays competitive Pokemon, and a lot of his content is about high level Pokemon strategies, and he's explaining these things. But if you look at his early stuff, it's more entertainment, right? Because
Yeah.
he didn't have the courage to be perceived as a weird Pokemon professor, right? Like,
Yeah.
so I don't know. Does that all make sense? And I hope
Yeah.
that lands and resonates well. Yeah?
Hmm.
Beautiful.
100%.
I'm sorry if I am talking too much and not understanding your business. My core niche is comedy and a unique perspective. We talked about this. Okay, you do 3 streams a week. Streams open with 30 minutes of chatting to engage viewers before. I love that. I love that. That's cool. Before transitioning into gameplay, pre-stream segments, Wordle clones, movie discussions provide TikTok and short form content. Fantastic. Where did you learn that? I don't think that you invented that. Where did you learn that from?
So the Wordle clones I learned from just like watching like Ludwig, huge like inspiration to me. That's like he's about to become old, he's about to be washed, so like I'm looking to replace that chair, classic. But no, but I watched a lot of his content, like huge inspiration, and he did Wordle clones, and I was like, oh, let me like hop on this like whole Wordle clone thing. And there's like they're all movie Wordle clones because I minored in film studies, so I was like huge movie buff guy. So I'm just gonna do movie clones. And one of the things I do, I hop on stream. I play movie doll, guess the movie by literally one frame in the scene. Like and it's stuff like that. And I'm like, this is great short form content because they're 2-second games, right? So like I sit there and my chat's astounded because I'll get one of the prime examples I have. It's a clip on my stream on my Twitch right now. Is it was The Accountant.
I love that movie so
Yeah,
much.
Ben Affleck, Anna Kendrick, great movie. And it was the one frame was I think it was like the meeting room with the glass walls where Ben Affleck and Anna Kendrick met, and he's like writing stuff on the glass walls. And so
My favorite scene of that movie. That's the
yeah,
best scene in that movie
right. It's
when it's
great.
like, oh, this man's that is exactly what I was talking about before, right? Where it's like this man is very weird, and
Hmm.
because he's weird, he has superpowers, right?
Yes.
I love that scene in that
Yeah.
movie. That's amazing.
And it was the establishing shot of that meeting room, and I was just like, oh, this is the accountant. And I put it in, got it first try, and everybody's like, what the fuck? Like, who are you? Like, you're a savant. And I'm like, that's the short. That's literally the short. It's 10 seconds long, maybe, of me seeing the scene and going, that's the accountant, and then chat freaking out, and I'm like, done. Wraps. Like,
Beautiful.
and
Wonderful.
I kind of I got inspired by that, and then I got inspired by like people who make Wordle content on TikTok, just in general, because like there's the people that do it in like first try, or like the comedy where people put like penis as their first guess and then boner as their second, and
I've
then
seen that guy too.
yeah,
I forgot his name, but he is fantastic, and
yeah,
I've seen it was mind blowing to me because he built his career off of this very simple New York Times game of Wordle,
exactly.
but
Hmm.
people love it because it's a mind game of like, oh man, what could it be, right? And then those
Hmm.
competitive ones too add more narrative elements like competition, right? And it becomes a game, and in that game, there's also like there's characterization of each of the characters as they play the game of Wordle, and you
Yep.
can understand who these people are as they do this task. And I think that that's wonderful. I think another creator that you would find fascinating is Vintendo. His short strategy, I think, is fantastic. Do you know Vintendo?
I've heard of it, but I've heard of him, but I've never watched any of their content.
I believe that you should go and look at it. His name is Vinny. Can I tell you a
Okay,
brief story about Vinny?
go for it. Yeah.
So Vinny is one of my favorite content creators. Vinny, if you ever watch this video, I would absolutely love to do one of these coaching calls with you and potentially just even pick your brain and just learn as much as I possibly can from you. So please let me know because I look up to you so much and you're so cool. And guys, if you're a fan of Vinny's, harass him and send him clips of this and be like, hey, like let this crazy man speak to you. But
Highly recommend.
here's a story about Vinny, okay?
Mhm.
Vinny looked up to all these PokeTubers, which I deeply resonated with because at the beginning of my career, I really wanted to become a Pokemon YouTuber, right? So we looked up to people like Shady Penguin and Game Boy Luke and this guy named Dylan Hayes who runs United Plays, and
Mhm.
basically he looked up to these people for the longest time, and he finally got into the room. He finally gets into the room, right? He breaks in, and they allow him to do these 4 player like let's play series together, right? And but like the whole time they are dogging on him, Gino. They are fucking being like, oh yeah, 50,000 subs, you little fucking like
Yeah.
it's and like. But dude, this dude fucking grinds, okay? He grinds, he streams. He recognizes the power of shorts content and that how the way that the way that you grow your channel is through shorts content, right?
Hmm.
And he recognizes all of those things, and soon he surpassed all of them, Gino. Okay?
Hell
And
yeah.
that man has a lot of insight into how short form content works and good strategy. Okay? So if you're
Okay.
going to learn from people, you should learn directly from him. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Cool. I hope I'm not, making you feel like I don't understand what you're doing. Are you feeling good?
No, I'm feeling great.
Fuck
I'm
yeah,
loving it.
sick. Engagement trends. Single player streams perform well due to better time slots. Late night competitive streams attract returning viewers, but chat engagement is lower. I track chat actively and followers, avoiding real time viewer count to prevent overanalyzing performance. Fantastic. I love that. Can I share a little philosophy on that?
Yeah, go for it.
I I have been doing a podcast called Brain Juice, and I've been doing it two different ways. The first way I started doing it audio only because it felt like this freeing, this wonderfully freeing experience where I was ruled by fear of judgment, right?
Yeah.
And so by just doing no camera, I was able to get my footing and just do audio only. And so my brain was able to open up and free associate, right?
Hmm.
And it was beautiful. It was this beautifully freeing experience because I wasn't trapped in my head, right? And
Hmm.
then I transitioned the podcast to video, right? And so suddenly I was looking at myself on my phone screen because it's on a gimbal and I'm looking at myself. And as I'm looking at myself, I'm judging myself. I'm saying, oh no, like I look fat, I'm going bald because my hairline's receding, and I'm having all of these self-critical thoughts. And Gino, those thoughts are incorrect, okay?
Hmm.
Be as weird as you possibly can be,
Yep.
because in a modern world where the internet, where we're all super well connected, that is how you're going to stand out, right? So be as weird as you possibly can be, and then identify ways in which you can feel comfortable being more and more weird. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
So I think that not looking at that view count is beautiful. I think that that's wonderful, and I think that you should find more strategies that help you feel that freedom. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. I used to look at the view count all the time, and I have a friend of mine, close friend, very dear friend, who's like very supportive of this whole thing. And he was like, you turn it off. Like just turn it off. Like don't look at the view count because you're looking like every time with like the Twitch activity feed, somebody follows you, you look over and you see a big one next to it, and you're just like, okay, I'm doing something wrong. The issue isn't, in my opinion, at least, the issue for me isn't I'm doing something wrong. The issue is Twitch has terrible discoverability, right? I'm not going to be seen because I have a low viewer count when I'm playing Valorant, the most highly saturated game category, but I enjoy playing it with people who are streaming 25,000 viewers. People are going to go to that stream. They're not going to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page and go, oh, let's watch this guy with one viewer try to get to platinum rank instead of the guy who's ascendant, who's insane at the game. And if I look at that and see that I have one, I'm gonna go, huh. Why am I what there's no point. I'm not gonna talk. Like nobody's here listening. Nobody's here. If I hide my viewer count, God knows I could have fucking 100 viewers in there and I don't know. And nobody's talking. And I could sit
Gino,
there
can
and just
I
be like, yeah,
can I speak to that really quick?
yeah,
From what I'm hearing you say, it sounds like there's this belief in your mind that people are going to gravitate towards people who are better skilled at the game. And by the way, I'm not saying it's a false belief, by the
mm,
way. There's a belief in your mind that says people are going to naturally gravitate towards people who are more skilled at the game. Does that make
yeah.
sense? Um, and so you might have this belief of like, uh, because I don't have those skills, then that means on some level, maybe my content is less valuable than those other people. Is that something that you kind of somewhat believe in? Help me clarify that.
Not specifically. I think more it's the idea of the how the Twitch page is structured. Where they're featuring just higher players, not higher ranked, obviously, but higher viewer players. And it's like I think people want to see I don't I don't know how to explain it, but I don't think it's I don't think rank matters or higher skill matters. I think it was just the
No,
example that I came
number
up
of
with.
viewers, the momentum,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
momentum of their thing. Like people want to jump on a train that's already moving, right? If there's
yes, yes.
30,000 people in the stream, they want to kind of be in there
They
instead
want
of
to see what it's all about, right?
sure, sure,
Yeah.
sure, sure,
It's
sure.
like
Oh
hearing
yeah,
hearing the party outside, you're walking by a house and you hear music going on, you want to be like, what's going on in there?
yeah,
And
that
that's
party's
that's
banging. Let's
yeah,
fucking go.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like it is.
Sure.
at some points. But
That makes
I
sense.
mean, I've
Can
been
I?
proven wrong. So
No, you're good. Can I speak to that for a second?
yeah,
So I think though, like one thing that you should examine is your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions around this idea of like there are better skilled players than me, and I don't have those skills, and therefore, like, like they are on some level, like some level higher than me, right? I
yeah,
think that you should examine thoughts. I don't know if that fully encapsulates your beliefs and thoughts around that, but I think that you should examine those things. And the reason I think that you should do that is because one thing that I've noticed from these online content creators is that their identities are directly shaped by the content that they create,
hmm
right? And an identity is like a snowball. It's like a train, right? Because I don't know about you, but I watch back the things that I post, and I think to myself subconsciously, I think, how much of that is representative of who I believe I am,
hmm
right? And the more I can convince myself that I am like, have you ever, this is very corny, but it's also like a very specific reference from my mind. There's a book
yeah,
series called The Dresden Files. Have you heard of The Dresden Files before?
I've
Let me
not.
tell you about The Dresden Files. The Dresden Files is a book about a wizard. He's a modern day wizard who lives in modern day Chicago.
Love
Okay,
it.
but he's also a detective. Okay, so this
Okay.
man goes around and he solves mysteries. Okay, and a lot of these people are doing evil things with magic. Okay, and he has to go and learn as much as he can to basically uncover the mystery, uncover the motives of the people involved, and then like basically fight crime, right?
Mm,
And he does fighting crime with like by casting spells and whatever, right? Now the way that this man makes more power for himself is that he studies things, right? He in the first book he does this thing where he summons a demon. Okay, so he does, which is, by the way, in the book he explains it's a very dangerous activity to do, right? So he
yeah.
has to do this ritual where the demon is trapped. Okay, and so like, but it's very dangerous, right? But the
Mm,
reason why he's a valuable character is because he has the courage where other people do not, right? There's another character named Michael in the thing who represents someone who is very afraid and very controlled by dogmatic ideas because he's kind of like a religious zealot, right? And Michael does not have the courage to go and do these dangerous things where he gains knowledge. I know I'm a nerd, and it seems like you're a
no,
little
that
bit like,
sounds
oh,
sick. That
what?
sounds sick. That sounds
It's
so
so
cool.
good. It's
I've
so good.
never
My
heard of it
point,
before. I don't
my
know
point
how,
is
but
that in my mind, on some level, I want to be like Harry Dresden. I want to be the wizard in the workshop. I want to be, the man who has the courage to summon demons that nobody else will summon.
yep.
I want to be the person that will tinker away when other people are sleeping. I am up late at night, obsessed and passionate about these ideas where
hmm
because people are afraid to go here in their minds. They
hmm
are terrified to be left out into the cold and isolated and abandoned and being like, I'm weird. Oh, fuck. No, no, I'm weird. I fully embrace being weird.
Oh yeah.
Hi, my name's Noah. I'm weird as fuck. Come and watch, you
I'm
know?
weird and I'm proud.
Yeah. And Gino, what I'm saying is that like, um, the more you can do that, then the more that will affect your self-perception of yourself. And
Yeah.
the more you start on that snowball, you will become someone who is very weird and very masterful at what they do. Okay.
hmm
So basically, don't like box yourself in of like, well, they're better than me and I'm not better and I'm not as good as them, right? Because the reason that Ninja became Ninja, the reason that Wolfie became Wolfie is because they had the courage to be weird. Does that make sense?
Yeah. 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 I
Yeah.
got what you're saying.
This is like crack to me. I know that I sound crazy, but it's so much fun.
No, no, I mean, you're right. You're so right. Cause like earlier in my streaming career, I fell into that box so hard that I was just like, I don't want to stream anymore. Or like I went live like once a month at most. But now I'm just like, fuck it. Like, who the fuck cares? Like, they're watching these people because they grinded and I have to fucking grind now. Like, that's what it is. Like, that's what it is. So yeah, I get you.
Fuck yeah, dude. Also, I didn't say this at the beginning of the call, but I love the mullet that you've grown
Thank
so
you.
much. It
Thank you.
looks
Yeah.
so cool. Dude, you've got a style. You've got a style. Also, those movie posters in the background, fucking really cool,
Thank
dude.
you. Original
So
posters from the theater I used to work at.
Awesome. One thing that I do, right, is I'm like, okay, like I want to build a wizarding workshop, right? Like
Oh
I
yeah.
want my wizard workshop. I want to, this is a poster from Casey Neistat, okay?
Hmm.
Casey Neistat is a huge inspiration to me. I don't agree with everything that he says. I think sometimes he does things that are naive. I think sometimes he acts for his own self-interest. I think sometimes he makes decisions based out of fear. He is not he's a flawed man, but I deeply respect him because he has had the courage to speak his mind. And in this world where most people don't have that courage, I deeply respect and looked up to him, and he gets to be on my wall. This is Steve. This is my first Patreon supporter. Steve is paying me $22 a month to support my content. I will die for Steve. I love Steve. I love Steve more than people understand,
Hell
okay?
yeah. Fuck yeah,
Um,
Steve.
so my advice is see that background that you have,
Hmm.
turn that into not only a marketing asset for, hi, this informs you of who I am, right?
Hmm.
A viewer of your stream, but it also reminds you, Gino, this is who I am. This,
Hmm.
I am the wizard. I am the tinkerer. I am the person in the workshop that is willing to do the things that no one will else do
Yeah.
because I have the courage to confront this fear of being weird. Does that make
Yep.
sense?
Yeah, if I could turn my webcam around, that's what my desk is on a wall. So that's what my front wall is. So every time I'm streaming or working, I can just look up and I see it's like literally it's like the that Simpsons episode where Homer has the picture of I think it's Maggie and it's like this is why I do this and it's
Fuck
just
yeah.
like her and it's like that's the front wall so that I can look up every time I'm sitting at this desk whether it's working my regular 9 to 5 or streaming. I'm like this is who I am and why I do it. This is to
Fuck
show
yeah.
personality for people who come into the stream and may not be able to hear me. And they go, oh, this guy watches Marvel Shang-Chi. This guy plays Apex. This guy watches movies, James
Yeah,
Bond.
I
He's a
that
Power
is the
Ranger
Apex
fan. He's a
Nessie, right?
Spider-Man fan. Like it's
Power Rangers. Fuck yeah,
yeah.
dude. Fuck yeah. I think personally, man, one of the best. Okay, so here's another thing is that like one philosophy that I have is money is a tool, right? Money is a tool
Hmm.
to accomplish your goals, right? And so like if you're afraid, by the way, that does not mean, there's wrong ways to use a hammer, right? I'm like you can use a
100%.
hammer to destroy something,
Yep.
right? Like, just because money's a tool doesn't mean that you should misuse the tool, right? I'm not saying to use the tool irresponsibly, but if you are making choices about how to spend your money, right, then you should spend it in ways that, like, you should spend it to do things. The most noble thing that you can do with your money is to use it as a tool to better your life. And it seems like you feel a sense of empowerment from this, and it seems like you love this,
Oh
right?
yeah.
So I believe that one of the most noble things that you could spend your money on is improving that space and upgrading it in a way that you're like, oh, this is going to help the workshop, right? Maybe you paint the wall, maybe you
Hmm.
fucking ask the landlord, hey, I know that this is weird, but let me paint the wall a cool color. Let me do a mural, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you get a
That'd be
bookshelf,
sick.
right? Maybe you take that,
I do
like,
have shelves actually that I need to put up. I have shelves that I
fuck
have
yeah,
not installed yet.
sick, cool. This is just one thing. Let's move on to other things. I
Yeah.
want to make sure that, like, what do you believe right now is holding your business back from growing? What do you think is your main roadblocks?
Like me, like follow-up question. So like when you say roadblocks, do you mean just in general or like things that I'm personally doing that I should change about my like workflow myself that are holding me back
Let me
or all of the
phrase it
above?
like this. Let me phrase it like this. You have a magic wand, okay? You get to
Yeah.
wave the magic wand and you get to solve like three problems, okay?
Okay.
And those problems are perfectly solved, okay?
Yeah.
What are those problems that you perceive?
Um, I think, I mean, I've talked about it multiple times during this, and I think like if I could fix discoverability with that magic wand, I would do that right away.
And
That
tell
would,
me more about that. Tell me more. How are people currently discovering you, and
yeah.
and what would be your plan to do that?
So current discovery tactics that I kind of use are I post streams as I go live on both Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. Instagram and then Snapchat stories, Instagram and Snapchat stories. So mostly the Snapchat and Instagram are personal Instagram and Snapchats for like people in my life, personal life who may not know that I do this that are like interested in Twitch and are like, "Oh shit, like I didn't know Gino streams. Let's go watch a stream." And then my Discord, I promote it in my Discord for people who are followers and in the community. And then Twitter, I think that's about it. Yeah, and then sometimes in game, so like in Valorant, if I am playing well or anything, or not even playing well. Like if I'm just having a good time with my team and with the other team, I'll post the stream link in the chat, in like the game chat, so that people can go back and be like, oh, this guy was streaming. Let's go see like what he's about. Say GG in the chat and hang out. So I do that too, which like some people think is really cringe. And I'm say, you know what, fuck you. Like I gotta get people into my stream and it's worked. It's worked a lot actually. So like hate a guy for it, but I fucking love it. Um, but yeah, if I had to fix it, I mean, I would just make the ability to have your stream go live on Twitch and not even be prioritized, but to be more easily discovered. So going into that category, and maybe it's just mixing around, like having, okay, the first stream, yeah, sure, let's throw the guy who's having 25,000 viewers. Like, fine, I get it. You need to get your bag, Twitch. Like, I understand. But maybe like down the line in that dashboard, you have somebody who's working with 5 or 10
Let
or
me, I don't
20.
mean to be rude, but can I stop you really quick and let me see if I
100%.
understand what you're saying? Is
Yeah.
that fair? Cool. So basically, like you recognize that your challenge is discoverability, and one thing that you wish more than anything is that if Twitch would do some actions to promote your stream instead of promoting the people who are already killing it. Is that correct?
Yeah, 100%. I think Twitch doesn't do anything for small streamers
Beautiful.
and people who are in their affiliate program. Yeah.
I would like to try to help you reframe this idea in your
Hmm.
mind. Is that okay?
Yeah.
This is how I see this. By the way, I don't want you to take this personally because I have done this 1,000 times and I have seen other people do this a million times. Does that
Yeah.
make
Yeah. Yeah.
sense?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Um, I believe that when you say things like, I wish Twitch would do this to help me grow faster, I believe that it removes your personal power. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah.
I think that it's an external locus of control, and I think that the best thing that you can do to grow your discoverability and to take back that power is to move it to an internal locus of control, right? Because you're not going to be able to change what Twitch does,
Hmm.
right? Twitch will never support you because it's run by Jeff Bezos, who's a bald scumbag who's going to space, right? He doesn't give two
Hmm.
fucks about you, and he never will because he's a fucking evil scumfuck who now controls our government. And I hope that he gets fucking. I shouldn't say that. I think that he's a great man. Please support me, Mr. Bezos, by Patreon, patreon.com/slash Noah Chrysler. But anyway, I'm
Yeah.
not going to Luigi Mangione anybody. I want everybody to know.
Yeah.
Um, um, so basically, by giving Twitch your power, right, you are accidentally hamstringing yourself. Does that make
Hmm.
sense?
Yeah.
Instead, what I believe is you go on one of these. You see how I'm like a manic, crazy person right
Hmm.
now? I think that you try to drink as much coffee as you need to get to this level of like, how the fuck could I take back my fucking control and stick it to fucking Bezos and grow my shit like a fucking maniac, right?
Yeah.
What are all of the levers? What are all of the levers within my control to grow this thing like a fucking like I don't know. I was gonna say nuclear bomb, but like maybe that's not a good metaphor because those destroy things. Instead, you're
Mm.
trying to grow it like a chia pet, maybe like a super chia pet, right?
Okay. Yep.
What fertilizer could I put on the chia pet? Where could I get the best chia seeds? Where could I get the best fucking water? How often should I water the fucking thing? Like,
Mm.
like a psychopath, fucking like be like, what is everything that I can do within my power to grow my fucking Twitch?
Yeah.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yep. Okay. Yeah.
Beautiful. I think that if you just shift that belief, then that is going to set you down the path of empowering yourself and becoming a fucking amazing Twitch streamer. Does that make sense?
Hmm. It does.
Beautiful. Now I want to give you some tactical advice, okay?
Okay.
But I want to do it with your permission because sometimes when I give tactical advice, I can be very forceful, and people take that as like they take that as like, oh, this fucker thinks he knows better than me, and that is not what I think. I want you to know that because Gino, here's the truth. I have tried streaming. I failed at it spectacularly. I cannot do what you have currently done, or rather, I have failed in the past at trying to do what you are currently doing. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Beautiful. I don't think I couldn't do it, but I think that I failed in the past.
Okay.
Uh, Anyway, I think that I am no better than you at all, and I want you to fully believe me when I say that.
Yep.
Here
Gotcha.
is my tactical advice though. I wrote it down. Where did I go? Okay. Here we go. Okay, here's my tactical advice.
Okay.
You need to empower yourself with AI tools. Okay,
Hmm.
the most impactful technology that has ever been created during my lifetime, and I think potentially your lifetime, is artificial intelligence. And I know that people are skeptical about that, and people are and by the way, I have a lot of conflicting beliefs about that. I'm very deeply skeptical about the ethics of AI, and I understand that they were built with by stealing people's information and by stealing other people's work, and I think that that is wrong. That said, I think in 2025, I don't think they're going anywhere. And B, I think that if you are trying to gain power for yourself, you empower yourself with these tools. The specific tools that I recommend are ChatGPT, where you can work on high level strategy and you can put notes in your ChatGPT to coach you to basically like you can do the instructions. There's like this you can give it custom instructions about like, here's how I want you to act during every conversation with me. You can provide it information about you and what you're trying to do. And then you can also like basically be like, here, act like this, act like a successful Twitch streamer, act like somebody who is wiser than me, act like my best friend and good buddy, right?
Hmm.
And help me gain wisdom. You can tell ChatGPT to help you gain wisdom. And basically, if you have compulsive, crazy conversations with it all the time, right? If it's your Sancho to your Don Quixote, I'm a fucking nerd, by the way.
Nope. Hey, I read Don Quixote. You're good. You're good.
Fuck
You're
yeah,
good.
right? I love Don Quixote, man. Let's
It's
go
so
fucking fight
great.
a windmill, bro.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Right? If you can make that your Sancho, then suddenly it opens up the whole world because in the Dresden Files, he has an assistant, and his assistant is named Bob. Okay, and Bob is a disembodied skull. Okay,
Mm.
where the spirit of this old wizard is trapped in Bob's skull. Okay, and so he consults with Bob, and Bob speaks, I believe it's telepathically to Harry, and he gives him insight and advice. Right now, Bob is a curmudgeon asshole. Okay. The nice thing about ChatGPT is that it can be your Bob, but it doesn't have to be an asshole. It can be the opposite. It can be a supportive best friend. And yes, it's a little weird and a little scary because it's like, Noah, have you gone crazy? Are you friends with the robot? And it's like, you know what? If you're going to judge me, judge me. But it has unlocked my mindset in a way that is fundamentally transformative, and it can do it for you too.
Mhm.
So I think that you should leverage these tools and treat that as your Sancho. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Beautiful. The other
Got me.
tactical piece of advice that I think that would really help you empower yourself and help you specifically with discoverability is I believe that you should use Opus Clip. Are you familiar with Opus Clip?
I'm not actually.
It is a $20 or $30 a month subscription, which by the way, I understand it's money, but again, I think that money is a tool. Have you read The Alchemist before?
No, I have not, but I've
The
heard of it.
Alchemist is a great book that I would also highly recommend. And in that book, there's a line that says, whenever you can spend money towards fulfilling your personal legend, that is the most noble use of money that you can. That is not an exact quote, but it is one of the most beneficial pieces of information that I have ever consumed.
Hmm.
And so you should go and read that book. But basically, um, Opus Clip is $30 a month, I think. I think they have a free trial. That will help you. Here's the purpose of Opus Clip. Here's what they identified in the market. People have huge streams or podcasts, right? They have a 2 hour long piece.
Yep.
But the way these systems work now is discoverability works via TikTok and YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels, okay? And so the way people consume new information and are exposed to new creators and new ideas is through these small things, right? And so
Hmm.
Opus Clip will take that 2 hour piece and it will identify the most impactful things. Is it always perfect? Absolutely not. Is it AI fucking garbledygook sometimes? For sure. But if you can leverage this tool, then it will empower you, okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like it's like giving yourself like if I don't know if you were like it's like the difference between cutting down a tree with a fucking plastic fork, right,
Hmm.
versus a fucking chainsaw. Does that make sense?
Makes
Use the
sense. Yep.
chainsaw, Gino. Use the fucking chainsaw, okay?
Hmm.
Cool. Now here's the other part. I'm going to also like you know, expand the metaphor, okay? There are a
Yeah.
few ways. If you are the logger in the forest and you're trying to cut down as many trees as possible, right? You can personally go and cut down all the trees by yourself. Another way that you can try to cut down the trees is via delegation,
Hmm.
okay? And when you're at the beginning, you do not have much money, right? But you probably are working a job and you probably have some money. By the way, I am not saying to go into debt for your dreams. That is not what I am saying. Do not spend your money irresponsibly. Do not do that. And also explore your feelings in relationship with money, and honestly do it with ChatGPT to develop clarity and reason around how you spend money, why you spend money, and how to best do it to hit your goals. Um, but but you probably are in a point right now where you could invest some of the money that you have to accelerate your progress, to empowering yourself in your life to make this a real career. And I think one of the best ways that you can spend that money, by the way, don't overpay anybody and try to find somebody who believes in what you're doing enough to work for very cheap. And I'm talking about minimum wage or less. And I know that people don't like that. And by the way, I'm not saying to exploit anybody. That is not what I'm saying. The way around exploitation is to give somebody fully informed consent and say, hey, this is a risk for me. This is scary to me. I need you to follow me into the darkness. I don't know where we're going, but I believe on the other end of this, someday I could potentially make money doing this. Okay. And when
Hmm.
that happens, I do plan to share that wealth with you in some small way or potentially some big way. And if you want me to sign a contract with you where we talk about how that money will be allocated, I would love to think through that with you so that we can create a deal that is beneficial to both of us. But I don't have infinite resources right now. But I would really love somebody who understands what I'm trying to do, who is my friend and who knows what I'm doing, and who's willing to put in hours, because this takes time and hours and work and effort. And there's no, in marketing they say swallow the frog, right? What is the bad part of what you're trying to sell? Well, this is going to be hard. It's going to be brutal, but I love this and I'm crazy. So you will probably grow and learn by working on this project with me.
Yeah.
Do you know Oscar?
Yeah.
Oscar Estrada is one of my best friends, and he worked on the RIT Newsman with me. And I recently did an interview with him where I asked Oscar, Oscar, do you regret that time that we did that? Because we spent hundreds of hours on that, and you barely made any money. And when we did eventually make money, you were making minimum wage. And I asked him, do you regret that? And Oscar told me, not for a fucking moment. Not for a moment he regretted that, because it
Hell yeah.
transformed who he was. It set him down the path of gaining competency, right? And now he
Hmm.
works for HubSpot and he is fucking unstoppable. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Yep.
So cool. So empower yourself to use the discoverability chainsaw of Opus Clip. And then two, leverage the money that you currently have by delegating and finding some person that understands what you're doing and who is smart enough and capable enough to use that chainsaw to help you cut down as many trees as possible. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Beautiful. My last piece of advice is about recruitment. Okay. Um, have a manic conversation with Sancho, with ChatGPT, your Bob, your sidekick, right? Have a manic conversation about how to structure a deal where what you're trying to do is you're trying to create something called an employer brand. And I know that that's a weird, like, fucking corporate term. And corporate America makes me want to stick the biggest gun that I've ever found directly into my mouth and pull the trigger and watch my brain splatter across the wall. Okay? Like, that is how I feel about corporate America. Does that make
Uh-huh.
sense?
Yeah.
Um, but your employer brand is a fascinating concept that you can use to your advantage, right? What you're
Mm.
trying to do is that you're trying to enhance your employer brand. You're trying to think of, here is all of the value that somebody could get from working with me. And by the way, you should think on it and you should talk to ChatGPT and say, hey, what am I not considering? What is the potential value of working with me? What are skills that I have that I'm not aware of that I could teach to another person, right?
Hmm.
That shit is really valuable. And to the right person, they will say yes to that deal, right? And they probably already support you and they're probably already around you. They're probably your mods in your chat. They're probably people in your chat. You should talk about openly, hi guys, here's the mountain I'm trying to climb. Fuck, I just moved my camera and almost pulled it out of the computer. You should talk about with your chat openly, here is the mountain I'm trying to climb. And then you should very, very, very succinctly and clearly think through the idea of, here is how you can help me towards my goal. You can help me by labor, right? Hours spent on my project alongside me where you're learning and maybe getting paid a low wage, right? And you can help me by giving me money, right? Because
Hmm.
those are the things that will create leverage in my business is your man hours and then the money that you can give me to help me solve problems, right?
Hmm.
So I believe the more open you are about that, the better you will be. And these people probably want to see you succeed. There is a reason why they are there, right? So
Hmm.
let them help you. It takes humility and humbleness to allow people to help you. And so you should try to develop that humility and be very clear about how people can help you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Beautiful. I think we should stop it there, but before we stop, I want to hear everything that you think, and I want to hear which one of these ideas resonated with you the most, and if this conversation changed the way you think about anything.
Um, yeah, so I mean, I definitely think I've been moving into the mindset that you've been talking about through this whole interview, but it was definitely beneficial to get an outside perspective because I'm talking to people who also watch a lot of streams, watch like divulge in the content that I divulge in. Not saying that you don't, but like that are living and breathing through Twitch that I've also been with. So getting their perspective is not not saying that it's not beneficial, but it's more beneficial to get that like outside source, I guess, if that makes sense. And I think the idea that really struck with me was the chainsaw of discoverability, right? Like I think because I personally I'm editing a video right now and it's 4 hours long. And I went through all 4 hours of it and I cut out and marked, changed the color of the timeline of things that I thought would make good shorts. And I sat here on this chair for like almost an entire Saturday just doing that, and I was exhausted. So if there's a tool that can do that for me is rad. um, but yeah, no, and I mean everything you've said so far has really resonated for sure about getting in the right mindset, and I think there was a turning point in my life that hit me. And you saying all the stuff that you've been saying is like solidifying that idea in my head where now there's like that part of my brain that is as solid as steel that's just like fuck it, like just go out and like as much as a meme as we've made it, right, the Shia LaBeouf just do it thing, like that is literally ingrained in my head where I'm like let's just fucking do it, like who cares, like literally. So it's exciting and a lot of what you said has resonated in terms of like it's possible if you use the right tools in the right headspace, and like if you can get in that mindset of applying those tools and doing what's right for you and doing it the right way, then you're already off to a good start. Like, I don't know. That's at least where my head is at after this whole thing.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I hope you found this conversation valuable. Do you mind if I go on a little bit of a rant about like what I'm trying to do with my career and my life?
100% go for it. I'd love to hear
Beautiful.
it.
Beautiful. So I believe that the most valuable work I have done in my life has been trying to help myself develop my own wisdom. Does that make sense? So
Hmm.
basically, like, and I think I've learned a methodology for doing that, right? Basically, every time I've gotten really, really ingrained into a problem, right? I've gotten really good at tactically solving these small problems, right? But when I do that, I realize that sometimes I get trapped down the rabbit hole and I fail to take a step back, right? And usually that is because of my emotions, right? I'm so emotionally invested that I fail to consider the wider picture, right? And so over the last year of my life, I've been able to talk a lot about like human behavior with different individuals and basically help them analyze their behavior. And I believe I have developed a methodology that consistently works called the elephant method, right? Which is basically a version of motivational interviewing and cognitive behavioral therapy. It's kind of a combination of those ideas and principles. But basically, to me, it's a framework for developing wisdom, right? For gently guiding people towards conclusions that like might be holding them back, like beliefs about themselves and things. And we did it on this call. You know, that was what we experienced. And so, what I would like my career to be is to be about that, right? And you
Hmm.
can apply the beautiful thing about that framework is that you can apply that framework to quite literally anything. You can apply that to content creation and business. You can apply that framework to human relationships. You can apply that framework to self improvement and personal growth, right? You can apply that to finance, you can apply that to dating, you can apply that to quite literally anything, right? And so
Mhm.
that to me has been the most meaningful and rewarding work of my life. And I think that it is my most valuable contribution to society that I will leave while I am here on the planet. Does that make sense?
Mhm. Oh yeah.
And so here is my method for trying to do that. Right now, I'm trying to make content, right? I'm trying to make content. I'm trying to do coaching interviews where I explain this methodology and I use this with people to help empower them with this idea of you can gain wisdom through this, right? Then I'm also, people also fundamentally misunderstand these AI tools. They don't know how to use them, is my lived experience. I've seen people be like, well, I Googled something with ChatGPT and I'm like, you don't understand the power of this. This can help you clarify your thinking and act as your Bob the Skull or Sancho and act as your assistant to help you take a step back and understand what you are not seeing. And I believe that operating successfully in the world is a function of your ability to take in as many factors as possible and then make better informed decisions. Does that make sense? And
Mhm.
that is a process that anyone can learn to how to do. And by doing that, you will improve your life in ways that the world will open up for you in ways that you cannot yet perceive. So
Yeah.
I believe this is my life's work, Gino, and I know I sound very crazy, but I am very deeply passionate about this. If people would like to support me, they can go on to patreon.com/Noah Chrysler. There are 3 different levels of support. There's a $5 tier, a $15 tier, and then I believe a $20 tier, or it's $25. I want you to know that there's a bunch of promises that I make in that Patreon. Those promises are no longer true. Pay me what you can afford. Don't expect anything from me at this stage right now in exchange for that, right? Like I just need as much money as possible so that I can create leverage in the ways that I've described to Gino right now. Like there is not going to be much exclusive content there. I eventually will build a system for that to happen, but like right now I do not have the bandwidth for that. I am trying to reduce the barriers between me speaking and me posting, okay? And I'm trying to post as much content as possible where I share ideas because I truly believe that that is the lever that is going to help me ascend to the next level and help me gain stuff. Also, Gino, I hope that you're okay with me posting this entire interview literally in like an hour once Zoom is finished processing the information. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Perfectly fine
Okay.
with me.
Can I give you one last piece of advice before we go? Also, I want to make sure my plug is as clear as possible. I believe in this with my whole heart, my whole soul. And if you like what I'm doing or anything I've said on this call, please go to patreon.com/Noah Chrysler and please subscribe to my Patreon. And I promise you, I will try to hopefully make you not regret that. I will do everything in my power to make you not regret that. I don't know what those things are right now, but I promise you, I will work hard on making you feel like your money is being well spent. Yeah, Gino, I'm going to send you notes as well. One thing that I think that you need to think through as well is a financial revenue generation machine. You need to think about your cash flow. And if you're going to start investing your own money into your business, then you need to start thinking through strategies, again, with ChatGPT and Bob the Skull, right? You need to start thinking through those strategies of how, if I'm going to spend $300 a month on this or 10 or $1,000 a month on this, how can I open the possibility of people giving me money, right?
Mm.
Maybe that's Patreon, maybe that's exclusively Twitch subs, right? Like maybe it's both. Maybe it's like I don't know. There's like a coffee one where it's like buy me
Oh
a
yeah.
coffee or
Kofi. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Kofi. Yep.
Maybe it's that, right? But you basically need to open yourself to the universe where, hey guys, I have some self-doubt, right? But here is the revenue generation machine, and here is here's the level of investment that I'm willing to invest right now. I am not saying to put yourself in a situation where you're taking on too much risk. That too much risk, debt, spending all your money, those add risk to your venture and they make it less likely to succeed. So spend your money wisely. I'm not Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary Vaynerchuk's like fucking machine gun every dollar that you have into your business and fucking YOLO it all. I think that is really dumb. That's an oversimplification of what Gary Vaynerchuk thinks. I have a lot of respect for that man. I would love to speak with him as well, everyone. Please put me in the same room as him. You have a lot of power to help me do that. Cool. Gino, the last thing I'm going to say to you is that I think that you should try to develop an understanding of yourself. You should try to develop an understanding of why you make content. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
I have done that and it has been transformative in my life. And I know that sounds really dumb. And people can doubt me and they can say that I'm a narcissist. Also, people are going to accuse me of being on Adderall. I want you to know right now that I am not on any Adderall or any like neurostimulant right now other than caffeine. I had 2 cups of caffeine today, coffee at Stella's Diner in Syracuse, New York, with my mother over breakfast. And so that is what I am on right now. I want you to know that because people are going to be like, this guy is a fucking speedhead. I will say, previous points in my life, I was on Adderall, but it took the joy out of my life, and I did not like it. Um, if you can understand why you make content, it will
Mm.
open doors for you in your mind that you cannot yet perceive. I recently came to the understanding that as a child, it felt like my story was being told for me. And that filled me with rage and it made me act out as a kid. And I was a hellraiser, right? I would act out, I would hurt other people, right? I would say mean things and I would like this one time I like punched a door. I was like, the Mountain Dew Modern Warfare like kid who punches a hole in the wall, right? Like,
Hmm.
and I hate to admit that because it's embarrassing, but the reason I felt those things was because I felt misunderstood. It felt like people were taking my story from me and using it against me. And so that created this fear and compulsion in my mind to share stories and share my perspective. And it's a fear of being misunderstood. That understanding of myself, Gino, has opened doors for me that I'm telling you, it feels like, and I've really, really researched this because I know it sounds really cheesy and foo-foo, but like woo-woo, not foo-foo. But I believe it is the path to self-actualization. And I know that that is strange, and I'm not saying I'm so fucking smart, fucking self-actualization. Woo! That's not what I'm saying, okay? I'm saying that I truly, self-actualization is a thing. It is a thing with very specific bullets of what it is, right? And it's not a woo-woo concept. It's something that's achievable. It
Hmm.
basically says understand yourself and the world will open up to you. And that's what I'm telling you to try to do. And I'm telling you that ChatGPT is the fastest tool that I have found to get there. Does that make sense?
Hmm. Yep.
I know I sound insane, and I'm
No, no.
happy about it.
I think there's a point to your rants. No, I'm kidding, but like, but you are right because there's the idea of if you, especially with streaming, and if you go into streaming not knowing why you're doing it, and this was, I mean, I'm on a bunch of streaming subreddits, I'm on streaming Twitter, I'm on streamer TikTok, like I'm on streamer anywhere that streamer has is an adjective, I'm there, and it's the idea of a lot of people are like, well, why are you doing streaming? Like a huge thing in the streamer subreddit right now, threads and threads and threads is why do you want to do streaming? Or like, why am I not getting viewers? Why am I not like making millions of dollars yet? And people are like, well, if that's the reason you're doing it, you're in the wrong space. Like I will be now, I'm not saying that you're not going to get rich streaming because that happens to people. That happens. But if you are streaming, and this is one of the reasons why, like, this is one of the reasons why or sorry, this is not one of the reasons why I stream. And that's why is I'm not doing it because I will become a millionaire. Like, cool. If I become a millionaire, sick. I'm not going to complain about that. Don't get me wrong. That would be rad. But like, I think that streaming there's a reason you need to do it and everybody has their own reason. For me, I want to be able to create content that when people come in from having a very shitty day and they want to unwind, they can throw on a stream and they can just vibe out and hang out and forget about their problems. Like I've had somebody who I've met personally at a esports event that I went to, and he came into my chat, was having a very shitty week at work. Like things were not going well for him in his life. And the first chat message he sent was, I'm very happy you are streaming this week. I've had a terrible time and your streams have like helped so much. And that message right there. I'm like, that's why I do it. I don't the money will come later. I'm here to entertain. I'm an entertainer. That's why I want to do this. And like that's what I think. Like you were talking about your purpose for doing all these interviews and these coaching and stuff. And that's what I think I'm here for is to entertain people. That's always been a huge passion of mine. And I mean, and then I saw streaming and I was like, oh, even better. I get to play video
Gino,
games and do it.
can
It's
I take this
beautiful.
conversation to a weird place? And it's public,
100%.
right? So I know that that's a vulnerable and strange thing, but
Yeah,
can I ask you some questions about that?
100%.
Beautiful. Okay, so let me make sure I understand. One of the most valuable things that resonates with you the most about about streaming, the thing that has been one of the most impactful things for you is
Hmm.
basically this connection with the audience. When somebody specifically is having a bad time, right? They're having a bad go of life. They watch your stream and they feel this sense of community and connection, like you're giving them a hug. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah, yeah. So it's the idea of, and if I can kind of go down this road, even though, yeah, this is gonna be posted and I'm fine with it because I've talked about this on my stream before. Um, it's the idea of when I was younger, and this is what got me into like movies in the entertainment industry. When I was younger, there were things that I was too nervous to talk about or cope with by myself. So I would watch movies that were in that realm to help me cope with things, and that would make me feel like, okay, the person who made or directed or wrote this movie felt the same way that I felt. Somebody knows what I'm going through. And that's what led me to want to go into the film industry and then the entertainment industry as a whole, because people, I feel like, need that outlet for those who are not comfortable in expressing that. And then by streaming, I feel like I capture that. And that's also why I went to like single player narrative games. I've cried on stream before. I played Kingdom Hearts. If you know Kingdom Hearts, first of all, I love you if you know Kingdom Hearts because I love that
Yes.
shit. One of my favorite games. But I played the first game, and when they start talking about friendship and the star fruit and the whole like meaning behind that, I was bawling my eyes out on stream. And people are like, they love it because one, it's entertaining. They're like, this guy has a soul. It's great. It's great. And two, it's like this person understands what it means to like go through friendship and have like tough times, and I feel seen through that. And that's why I like to do it, is that sense of community, because people can come in and be like, I'm having a terrible time, but your streams are helping me feel seen and
Gino,
helping
I
put
think,
those.
let me jump in. I think that
Yeah.
is fucking beautiful. I think that is fucking beautiful. And I want you to know that that is a valid and beautiful, wonderful thing. My challenge to you is to take a step back.
Hmm.
Take a step back and try to understand why you appreciate that connection so much,
Hmm.
right? And here are some theories. Can I throw out some theories to you?
Hmm.
And I don't know anything about your life. And I need, so don't be like, oh, he thinks he knows everything. I don't.
He
Here
knows
are
me.
some theories is that it sounds like, that feeling of connection to you was really important. That feeling of being understood, that feeling of like this director of this thing, the creator of this piece of art, understands something about me, about my life, right? And I
Hmm.
think that sometimes those feelings can come from things like loneliness, right? They can come from things like feeling like an outsider, like an outcast,
Hmm.
rejection, right? And sometimes those things, and by the way, that doesn't mean that anybody in our lives is a villain, right? Because everybody's very, very, very complicated, right? But sometimes when we were children, right, people made us feel alone. People made us feel, like our perspective wasn't necessary. They made us feel misunderstood, right?
Hmm.
And so the more you can dig around there in your mind about, oh my gosh, why is this connection? Why is this sense of connection and feeling understood and connecting to other like directors and artists? Why do I find this so meaningful? And the more you can specifically articulate that, you will become unstoppable, Gino, because you will
Hmm.
stop looking for external validation from other people. And
Hmm.
that is something, if you can achieve that, especially in our world today in 2025, if you can achieve that, you will quite literally become the most unstoppable force this world has ever seen. And when
Yeah.
you do, I want to be standing next to you. I want my life to be filled with as many powerful people who understand themselves as humanly possible. Does that make sense? I have
Yes.
my own horse in the race. I
Hmm.
want to be the rising tide that raises all boats, and I have faith that if I do that and I empower you to change your life, you will help me change mine. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah,
Fuck yeah.
makes sense. I do want to emphasize, because this sometimes gets lost in translations when I tell people, the relationship that I do have with chatting viewers, not parasocial. I want to emphasize that
It
because
is
that is something,
parasocial. I think
well,
it's parasocial.
well,
Why
I
is it not
think
parasocial?
because I don't want so I want people to feel seen, but I also don't want people to come in thinking that I am going to be a person that can help them get through a terrifying event. Like, you need to seek, I'm not a therapist, like, you need to seek professional help.
For
And I
sure, for
don't
sure,
want people to come in thinking that that's the relationship that we have.
for sure. Gino, can I help you process some of that.
Yeah, yeah,
It seems like you have fear around that. It seems like you have fear around the idea of these people are going to look up to me to solve their problems,
yeah.
right? And I want you to, for a moment, critically think about that and be like, okay, well, what does like a positive parasocial relationship actually look like,
Hmm.
right? Like because that right there is a limiting belief, right? If I lay into this idea that I'm creating parasocial relationships, it's bringing a negative connotation to parasocial relationships. Gino, I'm sorry to say, but you are in the business of parasocial relationships.
True. Yeah,
Okay?
yeah,
You need to figure out how you function within that,
yeah.
right? And maybe one method that you can function successfully within that relationship with is, hey, if you are really going through some shit, please empower yourself by spending your resources to find people who can help you through your problems. I would
Hmm.
love to help you with your problems, but I only have so much time. And that's how I view my time as well, right? There
Yeah.
is fear that I have, and I'm talking about it in a video that I'm about to post soon, but there is a fear that I have about if people come to me looking to solve their problems, someday I will not have the ability to help with that,
Yep.
right?
I
And
agree.
so that deeply terrifies me. But I shouldn't let that stop me from trying to do the good that I can.
Yeah.
Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yes. Yeah. I 100% agree. And I think, I mean, you put it in the way that I think I was what I was trying to explain is I want there I don't want that to be I don't want it to be reliant on me to solve these things that I don't have the skills to solve because I don't want to be that person for not that I don't want to be that person. I don't know how to explain it, but in my
No,
head,
no, no,
it's
no. Can
like,
I help you? It
yeah,
seems like there's a responsibility and you're uncomfortable by it. If somebody views you as a person who's going to solve their problems, like it's deeply uncomfortable. It's scary. It's like, fuck, if I fuck this up, then they're gonna hate me. Or I could not only that, not only are they gonna hate me, their life could get worse. If I say the wrong thing and I give them the wrong advice, or like they will be worse off and I've hurt
mhm.
somebody. I think that it's beautiful that you, and I don't know how you feel, but I think that it's beautiful that you have that ethical hang up. Does that make sense?
I think that's a good way to put it because there's a range at which I will go, the lengths I will go to help somebody, but I think there is a limit to which I will be like, okay, this is something that you need to seek somebody else for this because I'm not qualified to do that. And I think that's what I was trying to explain. But we got there.
Okay, Gino, here's what I want you to do after this video. I want you to find some free transcription tool, right?
Hmm.
Or I can probably send you a transcript of this. Actually, if you download the video with a YouTube downloader, then do you use Premiere?
Yes, yeah, yeah.
You can throw it into Premiere, you can jump into the transcription timeline, okay? And then you can watch this part of the video back and do this step by step. You can jump into the transcription timeline,
Hmm.
okay? You can then export a transcript as a text file, okay? You can save that to your computer. You can jump in there, you can Control A the text file, and then you can paste that directly into ChatGPT 4.0, okay? You can say, hi, this is the call that I just had between Noah and myself, and I want you to take a critical analysis of this and make a detailed summary. Make as detailed a summary of this transcript as humanly possible or as computerly possible. And and I want you to make as detailed as possible a thing. Then I want you to have a very long conversation. The voice medium, by the way, if you go on your cell phone and you use the voice medium, like once this conversation is started on your PC, then transition over to your phone and use the voice function so that you can auditorily talk through this, right? And I believe that that will speak to your subconscious in a way where you can internalize some of the thoughts and ideas from this call. Okay.
Hmm.
Cool. I want you to basically ask ChatGPT to make bullets of like the key takeaways, the key reframes and key belief changes that we've talked about on this call, and basically all of the tactical advice as well, and basically everything that we've done. And I want you to try to really, really, really think on this so that you can get as much value out of this as possible. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Beautiful. And eventually, Gino, when you start making fuckloads of money, I hope that you will support me on Patreon. Okay?
Yes, sir. I got you. I'll be on as long as I get a picture under Steve. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, bro, I'll get your face tattooed on my chest. I won't actually do that.
Amazing.
Cool. One last thing is that, like I said, my advice to you is to tell people how they can help you. Guys, I don't know if you believe me, but I hope that you do. I know quite a lot about these things, and I am looking for people to help me create shorts content specifically. I am in touch with people that will hopefully allow me to attract resources to this in the form of like a venue where I can bring people in for live conversations and other types of things like that to build a really full-fledged talk show production set. And I have all of the skills, knowledge, and ability to do that. But I need your help to right now make this the best it can possibly be with the level of resources that I have right now. You should know that I don't have much money. You should know that I don't have all of the time in the world. But if you would be willing to help me and you have some experience, I would absolutely love your help in trying to grow my personal brand and trying to fucking conquer the world. Thank you very much. Gino, any last comments, questions, concerns? Where can people follow you? How can they support you? Go.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for having me and taking the time to do this. This was awesome. It feels great to get this perspective and just talk about everything out in the world. Something I'm very proud of. But yeah, you can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Zeko, Zecho, and then it's 2 underscores because somebody took the name without the underscores, and I hate that guy. So it's Zeko with 2 underscores. Twitter, it's the same thing. YouTube, it's just Zeko, I'm pretty sure. I think there might be 1 underscore after that. And then I believe that's it. And yeah, and then you can find links to everything in those. So if you go to one, you'll go to the others. But yeah, feel free to follow and then just join the streams. I stream Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So I'm actually going to be streaming right after this, which is
Beautiful.
really exciting. But yeah, thank you
Beautiful.
so much. No, I had a great time. And
Wonderful.
if you ever want to talk again, feel free to
Hell
just
yeah.
reach
No,
out.
no, no, dude, in a few weeks or whenever you think it's appropriate, I want to do a follow-up call where we talk about the progress that you've made and how your thoughts have developed. And I want to know, here's the other thing, is that like one thing that I see Gary Vee fuck up, I think, is like he doesn't accept like pushback, right? He doesn't
Hmm.
adapt his mindset and like I want to I want you to try quite literally everything that I said because I'm a selfish prick that has an ego that wants you to implement my advice and see what the fuck works and what doesn't, right? I
Yeah.
want you to try everything. And then I want you to be like, hey, Noah, you're a fucking prick because this didn't work like you said it was gonna, you fucking asshole. And here's what I
Hmm.
learned. Because that is gonna help me expand my mind and help me give better advice. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. So if I don't have like 1 million followers by next week, then I can blame you.
Yeah, you can come and
Okay,
shoot me
cool.
with a gun. That's a
Okay,
joke. Don't
perfect.
do that. That's bad.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
Uh,
Gino, I love you, buddy. I'm gonna
Love
stop the
too.
call, all right?
Yeah, no
Also, you're
worries.
also looking for editors too. That's one other
Yes,
people can edit. Then they
please. I
oh
have
this
one, but he's going through some stuff right now, but he'll be back. But I would love more editors. I don't
Gino,
have a
here's
lot of
another piece
time.
of support. Here's another piece of idea is figure out exactly what your editor is going through. Try to listen as much as humanly possible.
Yep.
Understand that man, how he feels about his situation, and drop your entire ego and try to bring your whole self to support him as much as possible. Ask him uncomfortable questions and pry as much as you can so that you can fully understand what he's going through and how he feels about the situation. Because
Hmm.
if that man is in your corner, you should fucking fight for him and support him. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Beautiful. I love you, buddy. I'm gonna
Love
stop
you
the
too.
call.
All right, sounds good.
Boom. Are you sure you want to stop recording to the cloud? Yeah.